Well, I'm hitting this go live button, and here we go. So get ready to check it, Dwayne, to see if we are getting enough video.
Yep.
It's just lying to us. We are here once again, suffering the ignominities of OBS to bring you the following sentence. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne. It's Niall. And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering the anime that airs the week of the 4th to the 10th of August, 2022, with a few exceptions, starting with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Episode 14, Kiss of Love and Revenge, Part 2.
There's a lot of this subheading at this stage.
Yes. So this, I think, is my favorite episode of the series so far. I think it builds to a very nice crescendo.
She did fucking punch the shit out of that dude over and over and over and over and over again. It's one of those good cathartic moments of seeing a real sack of shit get what's coming to him.
It is odd, though, that it opens with a recap of the previous season that you thought should probably have been at the start of last week's episode.
Yeah. I was watching this one again. I was like, wait, am I watching last week's one again? Because I was like, oh, it's starting with a recap. That's probably the one from. It's like, no, I am watching the right one again.
Yeah,
it's done this to me fucking 2 weeks in a row now.
It's an odd one now. I thought it was because I hadn't because I pulled it up on the telly via the PlayStation there. I thought, oh, maybe because I done it on here in a while. It's doing this.
Exactly.
So it was just like, okay, okay, well, maybe I'm completely off on it. Nobody actually watched that what was happening. I don't know. Or did you sit there because this is it was seasons go in 13s, right? So naturally episode 14 is where the second season begins. But that's what so many other TV programs do. If you're just going to do it all in a batch, like everything, then maybe that's how it goes sometimes.
It's a bit of an odd choice, all right, but not unappreciated or anything. It's good for catching you up, but you've already watched the last episode, so you're probably back on board. Yeah.
There's a priest trying to find a bone in a prison.
Yes. And that's what he wants Sportsmax to do. But unfortunately, Sportsmax has been shoved in a pipe full of shit. And the girls are being attacked by an invisible crocodile that is inexplicably not an alligator.
They do say alligator.
Oh, they said alligator
afterwards.
Okay, right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's all right then.
And what are they going to do? Hermes is like, this is my fight, you two ladies. You should run away. And first of all, Jolene's saying it's her fight. And then Foo Fighters is saying, it's got my hand inside, my leg or my foot inside it. So therefore it's...
Motherfucker got my leg. I've got a personal stake in this situation now. So Jolene makes a web so that it'll obviously have to break any of the thread to get to them. But unfortunately, gravity does not apply to invisible zombie crocodiles, alligators, whichever.
Of course, so obvious.
Yeah, because it's like a ghost, but it is a zombie, as they established in this. So it's a ghost in that it is of a dead body, but it's not attached to the dead body. But it is a zombie in that it craves human flesh. So it's kind of
it's an invisible zombie. Yeah. Is essentially what it is.
Yeah, that also because it's a bit ghosty, it can just run along the walls or something. Yeah.
Ow, ow, ow! It's got my arm in its mouth. Oh wait, I'm Foo Fighters. Finger guns.
Yeah. She's not taken out for the whole thing. She spends a lot of the episode out of the action, but she does get to shoot a crocodile from the inside of its mouth. So that's pretty cool.
Mostly back together again.
Yeah, she's the longest to put everyone back together herself because she's in bits. But it's just like, oh, let me reattach your finger, let me heal up that scar. And Jolene's got a bite taken out of her shoulder from this crocodile running up the walls, and she's like, "Is that enough? I hope that's enough. Just let me try and reattach your fucking shoulder tissue here."
You probably find some fucking alligator chunks. Maybe you can find. You can probably put some of that in there. bit of rat meat,
It's
it'll
definitely the
all bind
grossest
together.
healing power so far. It's very useful, but it is gross as heck.
So Sports Max escaped. He's wandering the
Yeah.
prison hallways again. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna get my revenge. First, I'm gonna have me a little fun. Hey, baby, you wanna go out with Sports Max? Ah, okay, ignoring me, huh? I can go along with that.
Yeah.
I am also into that. It like touches her shoulders, like, and she slaps the guy next to him. It's like, hey, how dare you touch me without pain? He's like, oh, he touched you without pain. Let's drag this guy over here and kick his ass. And she's like, wait, you're dragging yourself through the corridor. That's very strange. Sports
Shit.
Max is very slow on the uptake.
Yes.
Let's shake him out. He's foreign pants coming off. It's like, oh, Jesus, we can't do it right here. Oh, maybe, come on, you got some subtlety, can't you?
Like the guy is like unconscious, upside down, like his head at a weird fucking angle into the ground, and his pants are just floating off of his legs, and it's just like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not into that kinky shit." And why is everyone so slow on the uptake? Because it's funny.
Yes. So he finds
the heroin needle drops out. All right, well, just gonna go a little pep, get me through the rest of the day. Oh, my veins are full of sewage. I got an invisible zombie as well.
Yes.
This is not what I
That
wanted.
reminded me of when somebody at university used the wrong measurements on the liquid chromatograph and shot the column out of the chromatograph because they went with milliliters instead of microliters and put far too much of it. And that was kind of the sewage coming out of his veins once he pushed heroin in there, and there was nothing to pump it around his body anymore.
Nasty.
Don't hit drugs, kids.
No, particularly
Or
a zombie.
Don't die in a pipe full of shit if you're a zombified ghost of yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Yeah.
I think it's like he's so self-centered that he was not noticing that other people weren't noticing him.
Yeah, it was all about Sports Max. Sports Max is the main character to Sports Max. But yeah, his power apparently like revived himself into a zombie, so his power is still on, but now he's an invisible zombie.
We've seen that before. So, the powers existing before, after people die.
Yeah. There was that one guy in the last part who what was it? It was the guy who attacked him on the plane.
Notorious B.I.G.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, he, like instantly died to activate his stand. So yeah, it's not unheard of.
So yeah, then they're going to fight, or rather, pretty much Hermes has to fight him because Jolene like forms a web, but that's when she realizes, oh no, there's more than just one invisible zombie in here because we're in the mausoleum.
So the one she's wrapped up and grabbed is actually the corpse of the woman who he's just killed and eaten, as an invisible zombie, and so he takes her out of the fight. She's still putting up like string to try and figure out where the zombies are, but also this is the mausoleum and it's filled with other fucking corpses, so that's a lot for him to work with.
Yeah, and Joey is kind of begging her to back down. I mean, fucking, we got fun, pull back out of this. It was awful one word, but it's just like, when we like revenge can wait, fun. Like we'll get him again. Or promised, fun said, no, it's fucking gotta be now. Fucking revenge. I gotta fucking get it while it's hot. He's right here in front of me. He can't wait. It's waited long enough, so I gotta do it. And her strategy is just fucking just. Just walk around and get chomped, and then you know where they all are. And before they bite your head off, make two of your heads so he bites the other head, and then you don't die.
Exactly. She does a variation on what Foo Fighters did earlier of making sure, sticking out her arm to be eaten by the invisible crocodile, and then turning her hand into a gun to shoot the crocodile. It's like, I know he'll want to give me the finishing blow because he really wants revenge because he's a self-centered prick. So I'll put a sticker on my own head, so he'll bite my other head that's growing out of my head.
That's the first thing. Then he's thought of that because he's detached his own head from his body and is holding it.
So she can't grab his body.
She goes to hit him and he's not there. And then he tries to leg it, and then she pulls the sticker off her head, which brings the brain he's eaten from the fake head, flies out of his body
back to her to try and rejoin her original head. So it's like, oh, now I can see where he is. so I can I can punch him and put a sticker on
Yes.
his fucking head, and now I've got his fucking severed head, which I'm going to use to basically like
Yes,
speed
basically
bag his fucking
pulls the sticker
invisible
Yeah.
off his
zombie
head.
body.
Off and on and off and on and off and on.
It's very satisfying. It's complicated, but it's very fucking satisfying.
That this one's for my sister. This one's for me. This one's also for me. And this one and this one and this one.
Yeah.
The real sack of shit, literally. You guys come up and
Yes, he evaporates under the flurry of punches.
atomized by a stand flurry. Yeah.
And just so you know, she was totally in the right, and this was the right thing. Her sister's ghost descends from heaven to give her a hug, and then leave again, which is nice. Yeah, just that little catharsis.
He says, "All I want to do is cry by you, Jolene, but I don't think I've got the power to." And she collapses. Then all the guards come in because they've caused this massive amount of ruckus, and there's
Also, there's at least one dead body there,
and everybody else is
and
injured. And Jolene's the only one who's up and about.
but one of her arms is
Yes.
fucked up. But yeah, she doesn't have as many bites taken out of her as Hermes, so you know.
Naturally, gets blamed for fun. Okay, as like when you've just brutalized these prisoners here and killed one of them. So into solitary you go. And
but she's just going to get stronger in the double super max jail. Yeah,
the worst of the worst, all the bad eggs in one basket.
Yeah, like I said, the builds, the music during the fight, and the payoff of the ghost appearing. I was like, wow, that's like almost like a full JoJo's arc within 2 episodes.
It's really fucking tight. Like, there's a bunch of really wonderful shots in this. I assume are just taken directly from the comic. That they're really well put together. Like, really nice kind of stuff. To kind of work on that build and that satisfying kind of conclusion to it. It's good shit. It's exactly kind of what you want from JoJo, and I guess it's a good way to start off the next inverted commas season, because it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is why I fucking love this shit.
Yeah. Like it was keeping very still, and there were just like really kind of going for just like shooting threads everywhere, and invisible zombies. Well, that's even better. We don't need to put even anything in there at all. But it's well, that cathartic release was fun, beating the shit out of him. That's put a little bit of kind of momentum behind there, and it felt good. Good.
Yep. And then we'll be well, I guess we'll probably. I wonder how much of what we've already seen from the previous episode will be in the next one before we move on to the.
It'll be a lot of this Jolene and a prison guard beating the shit out of each other, because that's the only way we could do it, and to get some kind of really kind of fun gnarly stuff with applications of strings and what they can do to mutilate parts of a human body. That it gets very grappler backy-esque when I was reading it. It's kind of really detailed brutality.
Then it is Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy Episode 11 Prophecy, in which everybody is horny except perhaps Geo. Geo might be the only non-horny character. Might be the only character who isn't horny in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the old lady tries to come on to him, and he's just kind of like politely brushing her off. So yeah, I think you're right.
It was the point when the old lady was like, "Are you grown up into such a big boy as well, Geo?" I was like,
strapping young lad or something.
I was
she
like,
calls
okay,
him.
everybody's horny this episode.
I just like the video there, Brian. You seem to be coming in like different from where your video is. I think you're coming in like, is it too soon or too? No, it's a little too.
It's probably your end.
If it's just my end, then that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, no, everyone's horny in Metallica. Like our hero. I mean, like they explicitly state in this episode, he's absolutely good. He is a good guy now. He gropes 2 women and smells the crotch of a 3rd. So I mean, that's the show. That's what it's gonna do.
He goes pretty far with the 3rd one to be real. This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun and say, okay, this is all too fun and embarrassing, and we're all tired of it anyway. Let's just back off for now, and I'll make sure I get you next time. Okay, we'll be waiting. and then let's all go back inside.
And then it's
But
raining,
discuss
so they're like,
strategy.
brilliant. No one will attack us during the rain because it's not like she has explicitly lightning powers or anything, which would be powered up by a thunderstorm.
Or an army of goblins who aren't too fussed about what weather is. But anyways, all you guards come in, get your stew and victuals. So we got a long siege ahead. Not for you, Dark Schneider. What? Come on.
You've been a creep this entire fucking time.
And we
Cut
know
scenes to several scenes of him groping women.
Well,
so yeah.
we know,
I think
and
he's
we
only
also
groped
we
one
know
woman at
you're
that point
corrupt,
in
Yoko.
the story.
No, it's the her two subordinate
Oh,
generals.
yes, but have we seen that this episode? I can't remember if we saw that.
It's a flashback to because she's like, "Hey, you were doing weird
I was mainly
stuff."
remembering when he was coming on to Ashne and Gara dying on the floor, complaining that they were making out while he was bleeding to death.
That was very funny, I will admit. Anytime it cuts to him, it's like, "You nearly killed me." It's like, "Oh man, I'm over here bleeding out. I
The
don't get
reason he
any of
seems to
that."
be mad is because he's not getting to see Dark Schneider's great attack that he wants to see.
Yeah. He can hear her moaning in pain, I assume. It's probably pretty cool, but no.
Yeah, he's they're a bunch of weirdos. Yes, because he's trying to seduce Ashne, and then Ashne's falling for it until she sees the fingernail turning purple, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to get turned into a toad if I allow this horny toad."
That's not sexy at all.
Yeah, exactly. I got to leg it on the back of a griffin, and then we get to the ditching out the meal where he turns into a puppy, a weird puppy man. And we get Sheila trying to seduce Dark Schneider. Yoko walking in on them.
This is after Sheila and our head priest guy have went to consult the oracle who helped seal him, because she's like, all right, like, check it out. Like, how come he could break out of his thing so easily himself? It was like, yeah, so it keeps you locked up in a form unless we specifically release you if you're evil. But if you're good, then you could just break it, because the magic doesn't apply to good guys, basically.
Yeah, well, it's a seal put down by the goddess of love, so only love, genuine love, can actually break through it.
Yeah, he can break the seal if he's doing it for the right reasons, like because he loves someone and he wants to protect them, that kind of
thing. Or
just
wanting to get a feel of somebody, is enough that counts as well.
Maybe,
it's all coming from a very similar place. It's desire.
Yeah.
I remember the flashbacks now. But they were all the scenes where he was sucking poison out of people's bodies, so it was all deniable.
From compromising camera angles and shit.
Just the artists making it look much worse than it actually was.
I mean, like they're making it look like exactly the way they wanted to look. Basically,
and it's odd that so many people get poisoned and need the venom sucking out. Quite so frequently. But yes, Yoko's getting jealous and she doesn't understand why, because she's always been in denial of Dark Schneider. But now she's realizing, I think, that Lucien is Dark Schneider. They are the same person. So now she's getting jealous and bursts in and throws a tiny dragon at Dark Schneider's head. And then they get Megadethed. It's still hilarious that she says Dave Mustaine as the first part of the spell.
Dave Mustaine.
I've invoked the name. Now I can say it legally. Megadeth is the spell she casts. Yeah.
The message says it's all coincidental. Any resemblance to people living and dead. I don't know what you're talking about, do I?
I mean, like, Megadeth does sound like a really big spell. Yes. I'll give it that. But
there's some like really fringe D&D type gags about why can't you just summon your own food with spells, and he's like, that's not my sort of magic. I was like, oh, that's referring to
because he doesn't know Goodberry. Yeah.
At the time, he would have had the create food and water spell as well, which I think that created like a 10 by 10 amount of food and water.
Soup.
I only learned all the explosion spells because they were like the coolest. I want to be the DPS
guy. Nobody learnt those spells. Even if you were the cleric, you never bothered taking those create food and water spells.
The spells that you would take in reality if you had magic are not
Yeah.
the spells that they take in these
19
games or anime.
There's no
Yeah.
glory in making food and water for anybody. Come on.
Exactly. And the number of DMs who are making you keep count of how much food and water your characters are eating in 1988 is very few and far between. Because nobody wants.
Some people have a lot of fun with that bookkeeping, but
No,
not
it's
everyone.
accounting
Definitely.
with rolling dice. Yeah, so it did feel like a little bit of a reference to that, along with plenty of other D&D stuff in this show. Yeah, it was an enjoyably horny episode of Bastard.
This felt a lot like you're just walking in on people that you found. Oh God, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yes.
know you were doing that. It really feels that. Ugh. Shouldn't be in the room.
It's a show that you need to be watching with your back to the wall. Because you
start,
don't want someone walking in on you thinking it's like, no, I'm not watching just straight up porn. It's actually a classical anime. It's totally cool, you guys.
So why do I have to watch it at work for time purposes? Because that's one of the few things that will run off the work Wi-Fi.
Dear, oh dear.
That's Bastard for the week. Much safer ground is Fuuto PI. Actually, no, I was thinking Yurei Deco. That's much safer ground. Fuuto PI is not much safer ground. Episode 6, Terrible M White Fangs.
No. I mean, like, a guy looked up that gay sex is a thing that exists, and he's very excited by it. That's nice.
Extensive research. It looks like tremendous fun. I can't wait. She's like, no, hang on.
Everyone looks like they're having such a great time. It sounds good.
Oh yeah, well, dude, you meet lots of interesting people.
But I mean, like in comparison to Bastard, it's considerably less horny, and it is very horny because like most of her clothes flies off in this episode.
The difference
please back away. You're being distracting.
The difference is that in Bastard, both the animators and the characters are horny. In Fuuto PI, it's
the
just
world
the
is
animators.
very horny. Yeah. That's true. Because the characters themselves are just like, oh, I'll obviously put a blanket around you because to cover your modesty, but the animator will animate her putting clothes on later in the episode.
I think part of the reason for that is 4 of your main characters are based on real life actors who played these characters in a live action show, and so you're not going to go too far out of the way.
I feel like you'd have to pay extra for their any kind of likeness.
It's always the new characters for the anime are the ones who get to be drawn hornily. So you've got the idol character, you've got the new member of the detective team, and at the end you've got the Carnage knockoff. What's she called? Scream. Definitely not Shriek. It's Scream.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, she could do with a support bra. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this is a wrap-up episode. It's them beating up the bad guy with Fang Joker.
Yeah, they beat him up like early on in the first part, so it's fine. I think it's still cool. Like, I did enjoy the how many times I press the button determines where the fang is going to appear on my body.
Play it all.
That's a good bit.
How boomerangs work. Fun saying, this was throwing the boomerang. It was the return the boomerang. And now,
but it does have the thing of I'm going to explain this very slowly, so the boomerang will eventually come back and get you.
Yes,
that's a distraction.
I can grow knives anywhere off my body to shoulder charge you or kick you with. Yeah, pretty much. This is like to kill a crazy one. This is a little cut people up. So you can't go too crazy with it though. We're past those days now. We're a level-headed detective agency here. No, the one deal with them in short order, blow them up good.
We only see a little bit of the guy who turns into a motorbike having fought a bunch of bugs on that roof.
Yes.
We kind of see him in shadow, basically. Yeah. They're still saving that one.
And they explain the gravity effect of it having lots of little wings.
Yeah, it's basically like the wings are exerting like a pressure that's affecting your inner ear, which feels like gravity. So it wasn't literally gravity powers. It was like figurative gravity powers, like a bumblebee, it was just like, okay, fair enough. That's wild enough science that I'll accept that.
Yeah, they beat him up, take him to jail, and then you get the payoff of Shitaro Well, the thing of like they have a conversation about Shitaro not, and then have to explain. Oh yeah, he could hear all that because they were still combined with because the belt's still on. Uh, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, how embarrassing!" And also, why is this bug still here? Which I thought was a good punchline.
Just because you beat the monster doesn't mean the little bugs he spat out aren't going to go away, I guess. And also we get the guy tied up in a hospital thing because obviously he got fucked up in a fight with a Kamen Rider. The rainbow-haired man comes at him and is like, "Well, looks like you weren't good enough, so time to take you out of the picture."
We had to question him, but he'd been burned down to his very bones. Another job well done by the Fuuto PI. However, the mystery deepens.
Yes, as we see. I guess Aurora is his Dofan power. We've got Brachiosaurus and Scream.
we must be subtle and stealthy in our advances. No, not you, Brachiosaurus. You're far too large.
You're too big. No, not you, Shriek. You're too loud. I, with my fire powers, am just right for this job.
That's what you know the Aurora for, for burning people up. That's right.
Like, as far as I can tell, like, he increases the rainbow hair thing to just have a whole rainbow Aurora thing. And also one of his hands seems to be made of fire, so that's another thing. Yeah.
Also, we get the manager, the producer on the project was going out of his way to protect the programmer who was having to live the double life as the idol. And so he ended.
So all the signs that pointed to him to being the informant or the Donphant are just like, no, that was all him protecting her. Like, that's why he's getting fired from the company, because he went a bit too far in saying, he's like, no, we can't have her do a public appearance. And they were like, no, we just got to do it to promote the game. And he's like, fuck you.
No, we don't. Smash his computer aside.
And so he's getting fired. But don't worry, they're going to start their own indie game studio, and that's going to work out great, I assume.
Yeah, so they're just going to do like their fucking like kind of knockoff one where it's like Mega Man, but it's not Mega Man.
Disastrous Kickstarter.
El Dorado Monster Gates, we call it. Babylon Beast Door. There we go.
Ooh, that's good.
BBB, yeah.
It's better, yeah.
Yeah, I did like how, because it was teasing like, oh, she was going to stick with me in this idol thing in the last episode. I was like, oh no, as soon as circumstances changed, she realised like what was actually better for her. It was like, if she was stayed in the company, I think she realised no matter what she wanted to do, it wasn't going to go well for her. So
she would have only been able to do the idol stuff if that's what the company wanted for her. Yeah.
So fairly light story compared to the first one, I would say.
Yeah, it's interesting, that we used a certain kind of pace in our average anime series like that. So it was like it's going in a little kind of 3-episode little kind of arc, and it makes room for a little bit of cool down.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of refreshing to come across. You're getting the TV writing, but in the anime. That's because because it's not say like anime is just like it's a set writing style, a set pace. It's meant to be it can be like so many different things. So why not keep it down to its writing and its pacing as well? Just had to adhere to this template so often.
And they could do the little bits of character growth where Philip and your one the assistant are, it's like, oh, they're on good terms now. Meet all our animal companions, and also here's a new phone for you. To get to do that. Also, he's researched homosexuality, so that's great.
Yeah, why because of the bad they remind me of the Transformer Soundwave's little tapes.
The cassettes, yeah. I was thinking that as well. It's still fun to play
so
with.
Much cuter, though.
It's the memory gadgets. You've got
I think
Stag.
I think we've only seen the bug, the stag, obviously the little velociraptor. Have we seen any of the other ones do anything?
What the frog was like, doing like the talk boy thing, insane.
Oh yeah.
You did very nice. Thank you very much. You did very nice. Thank you very much. I got that. But
Stag phone, beetle phone, spider shock, bat shot, frog pod, and den sensor. who is Den Sensor is a snail who turns into a pair of goggles.
Yeah, seems I did like the least like kind of aesthetically pleasing of the little batch here. I feel bad for the little dude now.
Hang on, what have we got? Here's some other ones we've not seen yet in this. Yeah, we've not seen Extreme Memory yet, have we?
Okay.
It's a special bird-like Gaia memory that allows Kamen Rider Double to become Cyclone Joker Extreme. So it'll probably be saved for, well, maybe it's saved for the next one, or maybe we're going to have XL actually show up and be the other rider properly in the next story.
The mid-season flight pack upgrade.
Then we got Yurei Deco, episode 10, 2 Fathoms to Heaven, in which the gang are being chased. Some get caught, some have to be broken out of jail.
Like for the fact that they're all going to go up to that thing in the sky that we can see this whole fucking time, it's like they're going there. That's where they're going to go. That's where or what Mark Twain is. It's like we all know, but the episode clips along nicely because they all have to like group together and separate apart and hide out in different places and break other people out of jail.
It's really yeah. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go on.
No, it's really moving, like to the extent that they kind of introduce problems and then resolve them within a few minutes of each other, and then it's a kind of getting a sense that we meant to expound upon this and kind of lay a little bit more kind of mystery about it, so you can put the pieces together for yourself further ahead of time. But now we got to kind of really get in gear here to kind of get you to the end of the mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely something they could have drawn out into a couple of episodes if they wanted, just them being on the run and stuff. But
there's a crowd on the run. We're separated. We get caught. We go together again. We gotta go out and try again and try and enact this plan. Some of us get caught again, so we gotta break them out, and then let's get caught to get broken out again, and then we're already okay. And then we get to the end, and we're on all the way up to place now.
Yeah,
done. It just felt like a mad dash.
Oh yeah, that's why I liked it. I much
I kind of like the condensedness.
Slowing it down.
No, I was saying if they drew it out into multiple episodes, like into make it a longer show, I feel like it would be done as filler. Whereas this appears to be like this is all the fucking high points, this is all the exciting bits, this is all the character driven moments, that kind of thing.
I think.
And threats introduced and resolved. Them arresting an old lady, and then you see that one of them in disguise has loaded that old lady's robot mech into the fucking van. It's like, oh, that's coming out later, and then it does. It's very satisfying. So, yeah,
and it brings other characters back. So the mum and dad help them out, even though they don't know the mum and dad are helping them out.
Like, yeah, your friends look out for you and that kind of shit. It's like, oh, we are hoping for miracles, and it's just like, yeah, your family still care about you despite them kind of pushing you away. They thought they were doing the right thing, and they're thinking about it's like, oh well, what if, you know, her words echoing back to them is like, what if what they say is the truth isn't real, and it's like, well, the truth has to come out, and they're just like, let's actively lie to protect our daughter, and changing where the sightings of this gang of what's the thing it called? Zero something? Phantom Zero.
Oh, it's Phantom Zero. They're the ones who are fucking sticking all our legs away from us.
Yeah, because basically the guys who are controlling the posts on Twitter are kind of inundated with these things. Of like, we got to delete all this fucking shit. These guys aren't Phantom Zero. There's not another Phantom Zero event scheduled. So we have to delete all these posts. So they're working overtime, which means the parents don't get noticed for changing the data for a good while. While it helps,
you gotta go to cyber jail.
Which means that they just like take off their goggles and it's like, okay, now we have to go to real jail, and they walk to the front door and the cops are already there. Like,
Wi-Fi privileges revoked. Oh.
Yeah, they go, and then they end up at the guy with his cyber zoo.
Yes,
because they need to use his world processing stuff to sift through the data that they have.
Also, robot lions and tigers to take out the cops when they come and bust in a raid. I was happy to see him come back. All right.
He gets to come back. He gets to be helpful. He gets to make the new sound and then go like, "Beware the sound of a new at midnight" or something like that.
Get him, boys!
Yeah.
Ah!
The cops are very ineffective in this, and like again, the moments of threat where they're chasing them into their safe house, and initially it looks like Smiley is going to get captured, but then the robot jumps in the way of the not bullet, the electrical zapping thing, and the robot fucking explodes. And I was like, oh Jesus, did they kill off the robot? And I was like, no, the robot's head detaches. It's fine. It's grand. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
It's a robot that could probably rebuild it,
Probably, yeah.
What it was, but it was like a very heroic and noble sacrifice, Pop. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really great moments of them helping each other out, looking out for each other, and just being badass. I think my favorite was just like Hank being like, all he has to do is hide his afro under like a hat, and it's just like it's the perfect disguise. No one can see through it.
That's like some heavy hats, like fun lead lining to keep all that weight down.
Winston has the most trouble staying not
well,
caught because he can.
I'm a different cat now.
I know. Basically him. There's one point where him and Smiley are dressed up as Luigi and Mario.
Yes.
Yes.
That's pretty great. Yeah.
As their disguises. Yeah, it's the interesting thing is that Berry quotes the real Mark Twain at one point when asking herself, who said that? And I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Are they going to get to? Is Mark Twain himself going to be Mark Twain, or some sort of, or maybe it'll be the Disney World's Fair robot of Mark Twain will be there.
They'll tie it into the claymation Adventures of Mark Twain. This is going to be one of the worlds they visit along that thing, like Night on the Galactic Railroad. It's like,
I was wondering, was this the version of him that the Samuel Clements that met the guys from Star Trek Next Gen, and so he's gone into this whole fucking sci-fi route now?
But is it the same Mark Twain that met the ninja from Conway, the Dagger of Conway? What is it for Mark Twain fucking anime universe we're conjuring here? This is worth exploring. Oh my god, I'm getting like fucking applications here. So much more than I realized.
Look on Anime Planet's character database. How many Mark Twains are there in there?
Who was he in no, it was Melville and Bungo Stray Dogs.
No, Mark Twain's in Bungo Stray Dogs as well. Yeah, there's two listings here.
I mean, like you'd want to be, yeah.
Dagger of Kamui
on the American side.
Yeah. Just the two. So maybe this will add a third. It certainly will add a third in terms of a country, or a floating city or whatever it is that they're going to get up to. But I guess I would laugh if it's a trick of perspective and it's so much tinier than you think it is when they float up there on the drones at the end of this episode.
Yeah,
I've forgotten how far 2 fathoms is. It's not actually like that's not crazy far, is it? Is it far enough that you can hang on to a drone that's dropped a little foot pedal for you to stand on?
Kilometers.
20,000 leagues above the sea, to quote another author.
2 fathoms is not very far. I should probably convert that in.
No, I don't think so.
2 fathoms is 3.6 meters. So.
God, if it's a perspective thing, and that
it's just like,
moon is just like a door, basically. It's a hatch you open.
2 fins upwards, and they're there.
yeah.
That'd be so nice. Long, coppers.
Oh, shit, that's the ceiling. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Yes, 2 fathoms doesn't sound right now, does it?
No.
2 fathoms deep.
That's probably why it's 2 fathoms to heaven ? Is the name of the episode, because even the episode is kind of surprised it's not that fucking far.
That's not
no, it's just a tall ladder.
I've done 3-point shots.
Right, okay. Here's what we're missing.
Okay. Is that a Mark Twain
reference? Because Twain is an old-fashioned way of saying 2.
Oh,
Aha,
Twain fathoms to heaven. Right. Okay, we're just reading it wrong. Gotcha.
Mark Twain was the frequent call of the leadsman. It meant that water was 2 fathoms deep and indicated safe water. So Mark Twain. Okay, so yes, he's nicked it. He's nicked his name from a thing.
From like the level of water
Yes.
that's okay to drive a boat in. Yeah.
He was good at that as a boy.
Yes. Okay, you got us again, Mark Twain, with your clever wordplay.
Oh, he's fucking reading pictures from beyond the grave.
Never taught me that in school. Oh, well, maybe they did. I didn't retain it. That's also an option at this point in my life. Right. That's Yuri Deco. I'm guessing 2 more episodes. I've not checked.
Yep.
Onto a show where who knows how many episodes are left? Probably as many as they make. And when they make them, who knows? It's Uncle from Another World, episode 6. So they threw me in the basement of a horror show.
Yeah, they can make this go on for as long as they feel like because Sega's already basically done in terms of making consoles. So it's just like, how many Sega references can we make? As many as we fucking feel like, basically.
It's a rich history there, you know. He seems very Saturn and like Mega Drive centric, this uncle. So there's, you know, however many things that they didn't get released even heard of outside Japan until recent years. So
I think the thing that confuses the timeline here is this is like the same afternoon as the last episode and the episode before that, right?
That was always raining where they are. I don't know.
It's definitely the same one as.
It's a very long
definitely
afternoon.
the same one as last week because they want to know what happened after he came to the isekai world and follow up.
Yeah, he keeps skipping through his own timeline. It's just like, oh, let me skip this bit. It's
so
fine.
This is
burn to the stick, prison again, burn to the stick again. Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, so when he was put in the freak show, what happened to him? Well, he starved and very quickly turned into the uncle that we know and love today.
Yeah. So he was sold for like way less than a scouring pad, which is why that little note is in that memory was in his notebook of please forget this.
Not even a 3-pack of butter pads, just the
one they found on the ground, basically.
One already semi-used.
Hmm.
Still very useful, but less useful than a talking orc, apparently. So yeah, he goes mad.
Oh,
he
he's
said
not
he
going
would have.
mad. He's keeping his sanity.
As he explains.
He's glad. He is a level-headed individual. He is keeping to what he knows, reciting all of like the technical inside details about Pulseman and like the studio they want to make this kind of game, and it was a really great thing for them. And later on, they struck gold because that studio was called Game Freak, and it made a little thing you might have heard of called Pokemon. And that's why I'm still keeping it together in this prison cell in another world. Hey, what do you think, Ray of Moonlight?
What's that? You want me to hold you? All right. I like the Moonlight takes the compliment of that's the most beautiful thing he's seen since Sega reference that I've forgotten.
It's the special ability of Pulseman, the one which makes him invulnerable.
Oh, it reminds him of the ability of Pulseman. That's why he started talking to the Moonbeam about Pulseman. And this was the same crack to which he would have died had it not rained on the 3rd day, because the guy basically forgot about him for a week down there.
So yes, pulls the Moonbeam out of the sky, turns it into a magic sword, cuts himself out, cuts all the other cute animals which have been captured out. We also.
That was a bad idea.
Before we get to the bad idea, this is where the people, the nephew and his would-be girlfriend, explain that this is your translation ability, and let you converse with the spirits. And this is the first time the uncle has put that together. Is them explaining it to him.
Yeah. He didn't know that was his special ability. He didn't know that his thing was being able to fucking talk to people and spirits and all kinds of things. And it's like, actually, that's really good. And he was like, yeah, I was wondering why the way I use magic is completely different from the way everyone else uses magic.
Because it turns out he's the only person in that world who can talk to spirits. So it turns out it was a good wish.
And now the only person in the real world who can talk to spirits. So, yeah.
We think that explains why his magic still works in the real world as well, because I guess the spirits exist there too. So then we get a long sequence of him fighting all these cute animals that had escaped, because it turns out they were incredibly dangerous.
I mean, like, you were in a freak show as an orc. None of these things were like animals. These were all monsters you were caged in with.
Yeah.
So those little cute rabbit guys are trying to eat him and whatnot.
It's just
And
like, oh, you want to be my friend? Oh no!
he bit my
Part of my
cardboard artery.
cardboard
It's just like
artery.
the
Bros.
the owner of the friggin' freak show is also getting mauled by animals, and he fights them off with his laser beam moon sword, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, brave knight, for saving me." And then the guy turns around and is like, "Yes, you're okay now." He's all bloody and fucked up looking. He's like, "Oh Jesus, what the fuck is that?" And he's like, "I'll send you to safety by like firing through a magic cannon to presumably someplace safe." It seems, while he kills the rest of the monsters and then eats them
and
when the sun
then
rises.
all the action animators of the show check off for the episode, and all the horny animators check in onto the episode.
Yep. Yeah. Clock in, clock out. You know how it works.
Just trying to keep you warm.
Before we get to that bit, we have I must remember her name. Beyond, I can't remember anybody's name. Yes,
Shinamiya.
she's got to go to eat some fried chicken, but she's convinced to stay because she wants to see.
Because the story's getting really fucking good.
This
Like, yeah.
Big action seekers coming up here.
How he met the elf and rescued her from a some sort of dragon, and
Because that happened like something like 9 days into the world. So it's like really soon after on the timeline. She's like, I could go eat fried chicken now, or I could see how this fucking plays out. That sounds rad. I'm going to stick around. And it's just him instantly one-shotting the poison dragon.
he's like,
it's like, oh yeah, she'd already damaged him enough. His HP was down enough, so I just hit him in the weak spot. And it's just, yeah, that'll do it. And she's like, fucking, I could have had fried chicken, goddammit.
It's okay, heat it up, but, you want fresh. Fresh is the best.
And then she has to endure the awkward conversation between the uncle and the elf after the fight, as opposed to an exciting fight itself.
And the initial horny animation is her lying dejected at not eating frying chicken and choosing to do this instead. It's initially horny at her, but then we've two other whole girls we can get horny at in his flashback.
Yes,
so, yeah.
because we get the misunderstanding between him and the elf after rescuing her. And then we catch up with what happened on the other bit of the story from last week. The bit where Mabel had shown up and the elf had found Mabel tied up. In
a quick thing with after he initially met and saved the elf. We're calling her that because she just calls herself Elf, basically. Because she doesn't want to give her real name, I guess. But they were saying is she reverting to her normal programming? Because she's like, oh, I'll kill you, orc, and she pulls a knife out. She's like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? This feels wrong. Like, so she's trying to attack him, but she's like, I shouldn't attack him because he just saved my life, and then most of my clothes have been ripped off, and he gave me his jumper. And you do see later on she still sleeps in that jumper, so she kept it. Oh, he keeps thinking she's trying to stab herself with the knife, which she's pulling out of hammer space, but so he keeps checking her body for knife wounds. Yeah. That's part of the horniness.
It
as
is,
well, of course.
But only on the animated part because the uncle is not horny in the slightest, except for Sega games.
No.
No. I see the reason why she doesn't give the name on the Wikipedia page. It is the gag of it's ridiculously long and unpronounceable. I had not realized though that Mabel's surname is Mabel Label.
That's a great fucking name. Yeah.
So then we catch back up. He wakes up and both the girls are lying on top of him. And then the elf tries to come onto him, but Mabel keeps on getting in the way, asleep.
She's trying to convince him, and they're like the two nephew and the girl are watching it, going like, "That's not gonna fucking fly." Where she's like, "There's some tribes that like cut up a beast to sleep inside it in the cold thing, so I'm using you for your body warmth." And he's like, "Perfectly logical. I see nothing wrong here." They're just like, "I can't believe you fucking fell for that." But yeah,
I think my favorite Mabel bit is when they think she's missing her mother, and it's just her having a nightmare about her mother telling her to get a job.
Telling her to get a job. Very fucking funny. Yeah, she's really bucking against the tropes and everything of a lot of stuff. Because as they keep explaining to her later as well, it's like, we told you could just flog that ring and live like a fucking king. It'll be grand. And she's like, I'm gonna hang on to it. And the elf's like, I'm going to need to go back to that starting town and buy that ring back because, like, that means he's engaged to her and not me because I sold the engagement ring. Ugh.
Yeah, it very feels,
yeah.
by the end of the episode, it feels like the uncle and the elf are now acting as Maybelle's parents.
Oh, of course, the elf is trying to make sure that she's not acting like his
Yes.
wife because she wants to be the wife.
And Maybelle
Yeah.
does
Jeez, you talk
volunteer to be the
bastard weird
Yeah.
ones.
yeah. Mabel volunteers to be the elf's dog at some point because
She's reminded that, oh, I could have been the
Yes.
pet in the fucking town. Maybe that's what I wanted all along.
Oh, stop.
Arf, arf, buy me breakfast. So they agree to go to a dungeon, except the elf wants to go back and get that ring, so she is also technically engaged to the uncle. And Mabel says, like, I'll go with you to the dungeon, but I sleep in till 2 o'clock, and then I'm going to need a little bit of warm up, so 5 o'clock, 6 maybe, ish, you know. Which is just like... So the party splits immediately. Yeah.
Big mistake.
But back in the real world, everyone goes out to get noodles.
The uncle says he's paid, but he does not have enough money in his little purse. So she ends up paying anyway.
I think there's still one more character we've not met.
See, I like this in terms of, like, this is the same afternoon of them telling this shit, and the arc is basically him going like, oh, let me regale you the horrific fucking time I spent in the fantasy world while they're just sitting around drinking coffee watching
It feels like
shit.
we've got two
It's
clear
great.
threads now. We've got the thread of his early days when he's suffering incredibly, and then we've got the Maybelle thread where the elf and the uncle.
He's already very powerful and stuff. Yeah.
Sort of.
It's also like for a bit. Hey, you all come by, come around and watch, let's hang out and watch YouTube videos. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And just spend the whole afternoon doing that.
It's got that chill atmosphere, and the threat that's happening on screen, these are literal things that happen to him. It's fine because he's fine now. I mean, maybe not in the head, but he's healthy now. And I was half thinking, it was like, you know, killing all those monsters at the very start probably like kind of power leveled him a little bit for the start of the game. Basically, you know, he's just like, oh yeah, I've got a bunch of fucking XP to start with because I killed a zoo full of monsters. So you know, that works out pretty well.
Was it Golden Axe which was convincing him to kill all those monsters? Was that what he was getting the vision of as he was being taken down by the monsters?
Yeah, well, what the fuck did convince him?
He was getting a vision of a game. Because he was like,
oh, it was a isometric side-scrolling thing. I think it was like as his vision was blurring, it was Golden Axe, that thing he was seeing. Basically, I think you're right.
One more episode, and then we've got to wait until they get their production sorted out again.
That's okay.
That is, because we wouldn't have time to watch it anyway. Righty-ho. Chimimo, episode 10, Diet Hell, the hell of being old enough, and then the little thing, well, quite a big thing after the credits this time, which did not get a title, but was probably the funniest thing in the episode. So the first part is Diet Hell. Middle sister wants to lose weight. What's she going to do? Why don't you swallow a Chimimo?
To get a gypsy curse put on her, and we're in was it Stephen King's Sinner?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they made it into a film. That's kind of the body horror on display here, where no matter how much she eats, she finds, I can drink beer and eat fried chicken all day, every day, and I won't gain a pound.
Like, basically, her thing is she's put on a very slight amount of weight, which is very against her whole thing. And the sister was like, it's from all that fucking beer you drink, dude. Beer's very calorific. It's like, I can't not drink beer. I gotta. And so Mr. Hell is not doing well at the turning hell on Earth. And so he sees an opportunity to... I got a spell book here for like making sure what you eat doesn't put weight on you. And it's called the torture of not being able to eat. I mean... healthy diet plan spell. And she's like, fantastic. Shove that Chimimo down my throat to activate a portal.
Satan's diet plan.
I think it turns her stomach into one of those flasks that you can never fill. I've forgotten the name of it. It's a kind of one when you fill it up past the point it starts pouring itself out, because the stomach like it loops back into itself, but then also I presume goes to hell or somewhere else is basically the way they say
it's a sick joke is what it is.
But But then she's starving because she's not taking in any nutrition whatsoever, no matter how many fried chicken and beers she eats.
And when he undoes the spell, she then has to consume all the food that she has consumed.
So now she has to go through the hell of all the exercise as well, but now being obscenely overweight as opposed to a little overweight where she was when she
I think
started.
he did a pretty good job of like moving her a little bit different when she thought she was a little bit overweight, and then moving her differently again when she's super skinny, and then when she's
super underweight and then super overweight.
Though I think my favorite bit is when she hallucinates that one of the Chimimo is a steamed bun and tries to wrestle it.
tries to eat it. Yeah.
And then the second part, the Chimimos are now old enough to go shopping on their own.
Because no one else wants to. It's too hot out. Do you want to go get ice cream? Yeah. Oh, they got a new kind of ice cream down the thing. It's like, cool. You go get it. It's like, no, you guys convinced me that I wanted it, though. I didn't even know it fucking existed up until you told me. Mr. Hell, you do it. He's like, what the fuck? I'm not even involved in this conversation.
I've been gardening and fucking laundering all morning. Someone else do it. I'm saying, well, let's send these little dudes out. We give them a little purse full of money, and it'll be like on a TV show, adequately aged, and they can go and get things for us. I'm sure they can handle it. I mean, they are like ethereal, hellbound spirits,
But they've also basically convinced Mr. Hell is like, oh, the real fun of watching Old Enough is actually like following them around like the camera crew. So you should do that. And it's basically like, yeah, he's going on the errand, but they're doing all the work and also being cute. So it's the real, like, as the show is in general, they're the little mascot characters. They're what you're going to buy the little merch of and stuff. But Mr. Hell is the main character. We're here to watch his suffering and him go on an excursion for everything to go wrong for him, because it goes fine for the Chimimo.
Yes. And he's not really helping the Chimimo. The Chimimo are just fine. He just gets attached to a truck, dragged into a fight with a bear, hit by a train.
He's not even attached to the truck. He just happened to be leaning on the truck.
He wouldn't let go of the truck.
He's like, wait a minute. If I let go of this truck while it's moving, then I'll be able to just let go. And then, of course, he's in the middle of a high speed thing, so he falls into the woods. That's where he hits a bear or something. I can't remember the exact order of events, but yeah, eventually gets trapped in a train in the ice compartment of it transporting frozen fish.
He's a solid and it's going all the way to the end of the line.
And then after the credits, we get a discussion of gacha games based around Hot Boys, dump truck fighters.
Is there a Chimimo gacha game? Because I feel like this would be the way to promote it. Yeah, exactly.
They turned rock, paper, scissors into three hot guys who fight each other on top of a dump truck.
On the back of trucks. Yeah. And they're like, does it have to be about hot guys? Yes, all gacha games have to be about hot guys. That's just the fucking rule. I don't make it up.
Let's take a Chimimos here. What we got? So obviously, hipster would be kind of a good-looking, kind of fashionable dude. Like Specs would be kind of like the kind of cool-looking, like intelligent dude. We got like red pants and blue pants would be kind of the kind of twins who are a bit into each other. Yeah. But
I did like the way the middle, like the younger sister is explaining what trope this fills. The older sister is reacting to learning about this trope, and then the middle sister saying that'd make a lot of fucking money. That's very marketable.
Yeah.
She says it the same phrase differently in tone, because she's kind of like, are furries marketable? I suppose they are. Yeah, sure.
We got to account for that. Though also we got to get the hot daddy fun thing. And there's obviously fun mustache going to be like we have the whole like market cornered here just with the roster.
Definitely yes. Oh my yes, I believe was Matsumi's reaction to.
Oh my
mustache being turned into a hot dad.
She doesn't need to be explained why hot dads are a thing. She's old enough to understand that. Yeah.
Yes, it was funny. Just like, and this one, it's not even the one who is normally a cat-related character. It's a different one who's turned into a cat.
It's the one with the cat pattern, not the one that is like a cat. I think the one with the cat pattern turns into a guy dressed as a cat. Whereas the other guy turns into an anthropomorphic cat man.
And Tiny Tiger, who's the one who acts like a cat, is turned into a little delinquent.
A hoodlum, little delinquent.
Yeah.
But he's got a heart of gold, I'm sure, and firebrand.
Oh, the guy who's actually the most devil-like turns into an angel, which is a bit unexpected. So yeah.
Ooh.
Looks like the dog's back next week.
Hey.
It's just a very fucking just fun, charming cartoon. I've taken it now. It's been on nights for the last like little 2 weeks or to kind of saving it for when I get off the shift before my day off. One thing I'm gonna put this on in the morning. I'm just gonna have a little something like a yogurt or a bit of toast before I go to sleep, and it's got kind of I don't know about it as well. It's because it's just like some of the imagery that's in it. I get a very I don't know, Katamari Damacy thing of it. Maybe I'm seeing round things rolling around. I'm sure.
Could be, yeah.
I
But it
don't
is
know.
kind of the cutesy kind of style of it and everything. And it's a thing of it's just like, hey, this thing that would have been like from the look of it marketed to kids in the past is like those kids are now adults, and you could just make adult jokes at them and they'll still enjoy this. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good one.
Then we got Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, episode 90, and you can't see what he's looking at. 90. Oh,
Or
On this
that's
vow.
it. Sorry, I've got something freezing up, making
Hmm.
blinking noises at me. On this bond, I've got
On this bond, even. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Keys doing that this.
in which our 4 remaining fighters face off against Vern. What can they do? Well, half of them can get their asses kicked.
It's. I appreciate the level of kind of thought and strategy in order to try to put into this now, and the kind of the stakes involved. There's a little bit too much analysis and kind of analysis paralysis going on for the
Yeah,
actual
this
kind
would
of
have
do
been
anything.
quicker to explain in a comic because you just have
Yeah.
the panels that are filled with text and you're good and you're caught up. But when you do it for an episode, it takes the whole fucking episode to do. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And it's taken a long time to explain. Well, we basically just gotta like, as you kind of postulated, you can block 3 attacks but not 4. So this
Yeah,
guy's fucking sends 3 boys at you to take the fucking tank to hit, and then the one someone else comes in with the 4th to get you.
but
Also,
they have to determine this by having 2 lads attack him and get their asses kicked, and then you only have 2 guys left to work with.
yeah. Well,
So
before even that, one Pop says, "Well, it's more of a counter move. So just don't go near him, and he can't hit you unless he
he's waiting to
decides to hit
react
you."
to you. Yeah.
However, this is like his best move that he's got, so he's going to do nothing but that because he sees us as a threat. So we're going to count on him breaking that out, and then our strategy is fucking human wave tactics. Just keep sending guys in to tank the hits and then get them. It's the only plan I got,
But it's not
fellas.
the only plan
Are you
he's
with
got
me?
another plan that he's not discussing with people. Because
Because if he discussed it out loud, Vern would
Yeah.
hear because he's right fucking there. Yeah, it's being
It is, and
sensible,
it's a-
and they do trust Pop.
it's a
Is the
much better
thing.
plan because it's like this guy, he's beating us with counters. How can we beat him? With my own counter.
Counter the counters, re-counters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. By the end
Checkmate.
of the episode,
Double
Vern
checkmate.
thinks he's killed Pop and cackles the cacklest cackle he's cackled so far in the series, at blowing Pop up. And then we see the fire which has consumed Pop slowly dissipate and reveal Pop smiling smugly to himself as all the spell has gone inside the mirror of Shalal, which he had got strapped to his chest under his coat the entire time.
Like that was a great. That was fantastic. It's like, oh, remember that fucking that shit didn't blow up with the fucking knife.
He
He just fucking
picked that up.
picked it up,
Yeah.
stuffed it up his fucking shirt. Fantastic. But it's also the fact that he when the explosion goes away, his entire shirt's blown off, and it's like, oh yeah, because Pop's ripped now, and it's just like yeah, I'm fucking class as shit.
It's
So
it,
it's a
it's a
smart
real
play,
like
it's the long term
yeah.
play, and also it like he looks good doing it. It's excellent.
It's a real good kind of it's the fantasy application of like the gunslingers, and now he's stepping up when he goes to the gunfight. He's like the tin plate under his shirt and the bullet, so he thinks he goes over to gloat over his kill. Kapow! Yeah.
Yeah, quick shonen jump talk. That was one of the best versions I've seen of that in a long time in Mashal, where the guy blocked every single hit with all the things he had lining his jacket. That was very good. Yeah.
Novelty pins of his sister
Yes.
that he pressed himself in his own little button pressing thing.
That was very good. But yeah, it is that very trope done very fucking well. And just Vern's look of
Yes.
shit as he's about to eat
and
it.
the next episode preview, which just seems to be Vern's on fire now.
If it just means the whole episode on fire, I'll be fucking happy out. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I also kind of want.
it'll
Go
be
ahead, Niall.
it'll be a very well animated dive point saying, "This is for my father and my father's father and my mother and for my thing. I'll fucking knock this shit into you. I want to see you try. Please kill me now. I'm on fire." Because that's what he wants to. He wants like a challenge, So please kill me now. If someone could kill me, if I think he wouldn't feel too bad about you before and saying, "Fair play, you killed me."
I
That's the kind of dude
I also
Vern
kind
is.
of want Oda to steal this bit for the end of One Piece, where I just want to see one of these final fights in One Piece where it's just Luffy and Usopp facing down one of the big bad guys. Because I was like, yeah, because they don't get enough of that for quite a while of those two being paired up again.
Yeah, we haven't got a lot of teamwork fights in One Piece in a while, but yeah, it's unfortunate because whenever they did those well, it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, there's a few of them in. Well, there's a big one coming up in the anime shortly, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. But again, that's for what I did, but that's even in Dragon Quest here with one thing. It was like no fun. Let's fucking get everybody out to get their licks in, to fucking do something to fucking them, and they get taken out, but they're going down swinging,
Oh yeah, like him and your man don't go out like punks or anything. Like him punching through the wave of destruction, and then like even
Lara Hart's got his eyes out. She's still going for it.
Yeah, he gets his eyes focused. Just tell me where he is. It's like he's fucking right ahead of me. Just follow my voice and stab at that direction. And Lara Hart giving the fucking Terminator thumbs up before he's turned into a fucking jewel and that kind of shit. I was just like, yeah, they go out like fucking bosses. It's good. It's good shit.
And then finally, we've got Shine On, Bakumatsu Bad Boys, episode 10, Defend the American Black Ships. No, the Black American Ships.
I don't know why it wasn't that order.
I was going to say, I said
reversed
American
well.
Black Ships because that makes more sense. But
yeah,
it does. It does.
This one felt the most like episode of the Saturday morning continuing a serial adventure series. Like, come on, gang, we gotta go to Osaka as a tourist destination, see all the tourist participant. And then you got, the bad guys are going to fucking Venom, fucking Miles Mayhem was going to fucking take like the American ship and fucking use it as like fucking a false flag maneuver, and then they go and fight him off and go, "I'll get you next time, Shinsen Gooby, next time." But with doubt in my heart, that's who I actually am.
I think the new historical guy we get is Mori Takachika. I looked him up. They made him way more jowly in this because as soon as I saw that guy, I was like, "Oh, that's a real guy." And they just give him like these big old jowls, and I was like, "It didn't look that bad."
They just took a photo of him sitting like that, and then just drew him constantly sitting like that.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's like fun, like doing it with my eyes were closed, and that's gonna be about my state portrait. Come on.
I think the other lad who's trying to get him involved is real, and the guy with the cannons at the end definitely is, because this is all leading up.
But when I saw that guy, I was like, "That's a real guy." Basically.
Coming to a head.
The remaining episodes, I assume, are going to be the Kinmon incident, but with laser beams where there weren't them before.
Fucking nice. All right, that sounds pretty good.
Which also makes me wonder whether there's going to be another series, or they're hoping for another series of this.
I mean, they could just adapt another historical event and add yokai and lasers to it. So yeah, I'm fine with
that. There's still a while off to the Meiji era, so
yes,
they might want to do another 12 episodes where it ends very badly for our heroes.
Well, I mean, they could just go like, and we'll pretend we died because we're not the people we're playing.
America, because it looks super fun there, as we discover here. I also like our Japanese scientist speaks better English than the Americans in this episode.
That was great. Yeah.
What you wanted to know. Yes, thank you very much.
They've been called in, and they're being paid by. Yeah, because this is like a weird thing where it's like two different sides of people who both want to overthrow the shogun are against each other at this point. So they're being paid by
Yeah, like it's not that the Americans have called them in; it's that they've been
Aizu.
paid by the
It's the Aizu domain.
Yeah,
are paying them to go and investigate this. And yeah, the leader of the Chosu clan doesn't want to attack the ships because he thinks that they wouldn't be able to win in a fight against the Americans.
yeah. As our spy guide points out, it's like we can't kick all foreigners out yet because we need to get our level of technology up high enough that they won't just kick our ass in a war.
Yeah,
which is a reasonable enough thing. They have like steamships and shit, and
But
you
the
guys
other-
are still running on sails. I mean, like the steamship still
the
has
other
sails.
lads are
but
like,
still.
oh no,
Yeah.
we've got the demon masks on our side, and they've given us laser cannons. So
so that whole thing, like, no, their plan is to go to rob it, to go like hide like a ship and cause an international incident by using like American ship to fire on the port. But actually, it was about to get it to attack, but then see how helpless it was in the face of Japanese technology.
Which it's not so much to convince. Initially they were thinking it's just like, yeah, if it doesn't start a war, that's fine. It'll still fucking make people antsy about foreigners since an American ship opened fire on a port. But it's more so it's like, oh, we can kick America's ass? Yeah, let's definitely get into a war. It's trying to convince the Japanese people that, yeah, we totally should kick out all foreigners because we can.
they only throw the American sailors overboard because they can't power their weapons with American souls, apparently.
Yeah, they need to power
Americans
their
have
weapons
no souls,
with.
Brian, don't you know this?
I think it's the deal, like because they're purists and stuff, right? They need souls that are loyal to not necessarily the Empire, but loyal to Japan. Exactly. So an American here to be an American naval guy is like that soul is not going to be loyal to any kind of Japanese ideal. So we just have to push them overboard, not kill them with our swords that would take their souls. Yeah.
Only you in the modern era, a loyal anime fan, only your soul can power this. Please buy all the Italian merchandise, key rings, postcards.
That'll just make our swords more powerful.
Yes, if you want a second series, give us your energy for the spirit bomb. Only if you are loyal to the cause, though. That's all. No bad vibes up in here.
I was wondering how they were powering up the cannons, because do they have to shoot like a bunch of Japanese people to power up every one of those cannons? Like, is that how it reloads?
The big engine thing that.
Yeah, I remembered the big engine thing, and it's like
manners.
They take it out with a sword. They plug the sword into the battery, and they charge the guns with the battery. I suppose. Yeah, it's a whole system.
They managed to catch up with the black ships because the guy who died last episode.
The electric the outboard motor one.
Which they charged up.
The way his staff perfectly fit on the plug for that, I was like, and it steered it as well. I was like, oh, that's really nice design. I did enjoy that.
We stole in Red Dead Online the other night. Dwayne as well.
You got a speedboat and cowboy toy?
Yeah. Pretty much the same era. Like 30 years gap between it.
The Iron Fish.
It wasn't powered by a soul-powered electric staff by a monk.
I think it was like
not quite the same.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, because they had the bag of coal.
One Apara Ranman then. That kind of speedboat.
As I was watching this would make a good mission in Red Dead Online if they ever developed things for it anymore. So then the boat, of course, catches fire.
Yeah.
So our brothers could have a sword fight on a boat.
I did appreciate the thing of they were trying to dodge the cannon shots as they were trying to get to the boat, and the man's just like, no, we're gonna blitz them. And his plan is actually good in how crazy it is. We'll go in a straight line so they can aim at us, and we'll use the because they haven't figured out how to get from the boat onto the American ship. He's going to use the explosion of the cannonballs to propel themselves into the air so they can jump off their boat onto the ship.
Land on their feet.
For some reason, the speedboat explodes behind them when they land in the cool.
Because it's fucking cool. That's why it happens. It's the rule of cool.
There's no flammable materials on the boat at all. I never understand.
It was an electrical motor. Why did it explode that way?
Because they're a Sentai team, and they've got to have an explosion behind them when they enter.
They are
Yeah.
color coded and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
I worry about the big lad because if his brother is mostly themed yellow and the big guy is mostly themed yellow, is that like up
Oh
for the
yes, if
chopping block
Rashomaro
then in the
joins the
second
team,
series?
yes.
Yeah, we already got a yellow guy.
You're burnt ochre. You can't be
Well, it would
yellow.
be gold or do they have?
You'd be gold or the outside
Yeah.
color.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yes, because they go back and forth, and as you pointed out, Niall, he's got a tell, and uh, Ichiban Boshi puts it.
I definitely, totally, I'm pretty sure I killed our mother. Did you? You guys, you give me the rock. You know what's the rock cooking? A lie, I think.
The like this show's very well competent made. It's really fucking tight. The animation
This is the
isn't the
worst one.
best, so that eyebrow raising up was very like pulled on a fucking string, like you're just pulling the
Yeah.
keyframe up and down. It was very funny, but like I
This
don't
was
think
the
that was
worst
the
fucking
intention.
episode there's been, particularly because it's
Oh
supposed to be
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I mean. It's
there's a lot of
most
cheapness
like
there.
fun
Yeah.
Saturday morning, like serialized cartoon episode where they go to the exotic location and fucking Cobra are up to no good, so you gotta church them out of there.
Nothing's on model or
Yeah,
isn't
it's
as on
particularly
model that kind of way.
particularly the dramatic sword fight between brothers is the bit which might look the worst, and you think that would be the bit you'd want to look the
Eh,
best.
eh.
Yeah.
Where was the cool like kicks and like fun breakdancing moves he did? No, earlier on in the series, I guess. From
We've spent the breakdancing budget.
Oh,
I would hope it fun like just how like fucking wild some of like styles are. You got fucking bayonets, you got fucking big staffs, you got electric fucking like fucking pole arms there, but like they go a little bit wild in the final confrontation, whatever that is.
And then the ship goes down, and he rescues his little brother, and the little brother's almost being convinced by his words, and then his mates show up in their boat, and he nips off back to the villains.
It was really annoyed, like he's getting dragged into the depths and his brother goes in to save him. And I was like, well, at least he lost his big magic sword. But when he has two mates over in a rowboat, it was like, we found your magic sword somehow. I was like, how the fuck did you guys? That's very fucking convenient. But yeah, it's kind of funny.
He's doubting though,
Yes,
because he's
yes.
being haunted by like all the spirits of the people he's killed, and right there on top of the heap is Mammy and Daddy, and they're weeping for him, weeping to see their boy like
And it really,
this.
it really cinches it for him when his brother kind of goes, it's like, yeah, but like Mom and Dad were brave and strong because they sacrificed themselves to save you. And he thinks about it, he's like, wait, Dad did literally run at that dude, cut him down. And then Mom said, yeah, kill me to stay alive, basically. And it's like, shit, no, you're definitely wrong. I chose to do that. That's, no way.
I'm totally evil, bro. Yeah.
Norman from Big O made a very convincing argument, and that's why I'm evil now, because we get a little bit more of his face, and he's definitely got Norman from Big O vibes with his mustache.
That kind of like, the clock-looking mustache, that kind of thing, yeah.
And the long face as well. Of course, that may turn out to be an entirely different person to the person we've seen him taking orders from.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah. He put on a lot of weight. A lot of weight.
Well, he's been sitting on that giant yokai hand for so long, not getting the exercise in.
Oh, yes. I'll do it. Jowly.
So they fire the cannons, and then they're marching to Kyoto with. They've also got rifles, similarly soul powered. What are our boys to do? Well, probably use their soul powered swords.
Yeah, I thought when Nobunaga was using guns, he called hacks, but when you get to use guns, this is just for the honor of glorious Japan. Yeah. Fucking.
One rule for Nobunaga, another rule for real patriots. Yeah, sure.
You could have had soul power guns like centuries ago if you just fucking listened to them. I tell you.
Oh man, if that guy turns out to be Nobunaga, how pleased will you be, Niall?
Yeah.
Considering like the imagery involved, it's probably fucking Abe no Seimei still alive after a millennium.
Could be that as well. Yes.
Yeah, and this, why not? And he knows the old ways, so it's just all adding up to that one. I mean, just take your pick. There's a certain period now, between mostly in the 2000s and the end of the 90s, whatever. So it's like, who's going to be the villain of your historical or historical adjacent anime series? It's going to be either Abe no Seimei or Nobunaga, or maybe even both of them
They were
together.
both the same guy. Yeah.
Or that was Nobunaga, but he's also Dracula. There's it's obviously exactly what you do in Western media. Who's going to be the villain of this fun hackneyed action flick? Hitler, zombie Hitler, cyborg zombie Hitler, Frankenstein Hitler, Dracula Hitler, Ghost Hitler, Hitler Jr. Okay.
Right. That's it for this week, though. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet of fear.
We do have a Cyberpunk coming up, so
Cyberpunk dropped today. That is true. So next week will be week ending the 17th. I don't think Tatami Time Machine Blues is going to be in English on Disney Plus. It will be in Japanese this week.
Oh, that's fine.
They put up a clip of the opening of it, and it opens with a very fast monologue. The auto-generated subtitles could not keep up with it.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
I was because it was on there as well. I was watching some Tatami Galaxy again, and it was difficult to keep up. I don't know if despite I was getting old, it was just really flying at
That's
you
what I'm
again.
worried about, because I was like, never had a problem before. I did have a problem with the Night is Short Walk On Girl, so I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be able to take that pace. I like that pace. That's what I like about it. That's what I like about Vlad Love.
Makes you feel alive.
It does. That's what, like Maniacs talking incredibly fast. Not had that since Vlad Love. Give me it again. Yeah. So, well, I'll see. I mean, I'm not going to be able to resist the temptation if a fan summer grabs it, or if it does have English subtitles on the Japanese Disney Plus, then I'll somehow watch it that way. We will wait and see. Who knows? They might treat us.
Yeah.
Might treat us good.
Maybe, yeah. Well, when I had a spare minute, I looked at, because I was just seeing cool gifs of it, of that Licorice Recoil that started this season. It's all a thing where there's a hidden cabal of government assassins who keep undesirables out of the public eye in Japan. So it's a bit kind of weirdly controlled thing, but it basically works like a police procedural thing. Or you got one recruit, she's kind of busted down from position, because she kind of disobeyed orders, so she's trying to get back in good graces. So she's been paired with a kind of operative who is working outside of the system, but works them sometimes, and it's sort of like a cafe kind of city hunter kind of job, where it's to take on jobs from whoever to kind of do anything like that. Mostly about these two buddy cops. One's very kind of bright and bubbly. One's very kind of stoic and reserved. They gotta learn to get along together and get into cool gunfight action sequences. And supposedly, one is using non-lethal rounds, with the one piercing through the one car door to fucking take out this.
It's lethal to cars, not people.
Yeah, but it's pretty sweet action. You get this one pretty sweet little action to per episode. I've watched 3 a minute there. So you the guy's taking a grenade out, you kind of swats it out of his hand. It kind of rolls into this little stud or a cupboard next door. It's about to explode. You kind of flips him in front of the door of that thing, and then it explodes and knocks him and the door against the wall to take him out.
Okay.
It was very nicely put together little sequence. So it's, again, I just kind of seen it so much for kind of through gifts and things. I thought I gotta give this a look, and it didn't let down in that regard. The things in the story that may or may not have a certain tolerance for, but just in terms of it being kind of a pretty good procedural action show, it's really good. So if I have time, I'll try and finish it out before the avalanche of things in the next couple of weeks.
Whereas what did I watch? I watched the opening theme animation to Call of the Night. I've not watched the show at all yet, but I did watch the opening, and the opening is pretty nice looking.
That's another one as well. Again, I've been looking at this recoil also. This looks very well. That's very appealing to do it. It's got a few characters in it, but and they're kind of CG cars, so you got to take what you kind of get with that. But actual character animation, action or otherwise, is really really nice. Like Call of Night as well, because that's another thing in High Dive. I could watch and make use
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
account,
Yeah.
for
Because
sure.
I was looking at it because I was like, I was wondering where Yurei Zero was going to end up because I was like, well, where did the last Noitamina show end up? And I was like, oh, okay, it ended up on High Dive. There we go. I don't think anyone's announced Yurei Zero yet, have they?
Not yet, no. If you got on High Dive, that'd be a
But
good guess.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping I don't like it, so I don't have to find time to watch it.
I think you will, you will probably look for problems
That's
in
true.
it.
My feeling is that if you like the Oshi Eurosite Sura, you're probably going to like Tatami Time Machine Blues more than the
Right. Right.
2022 Eurosite Sura because everything is pointing it to being more faithful to
An
the
adaptation of the comic, not
comic.
a reboot of the show. Yeah. Yeah.
But that being said,
Yeah.
if they do it in the format of 3 stories or 5 stories per episode, then I'm fully on board. Because as much as I like Mamoru Oshii, I like that format even more for a comedy.
Vampire Dies in No Time.
Yeah.
Has borne that out in recent times.
Yes, and I'm thinking of Psyche K, the first season of that. That was written to, I think, the subsequent ones, even though they don't think they did it. And in the same way the Azumanga Dai was, it was written as 5 segments that you could also split up on daily showings, as well
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a single episode.
It's definitely an excellent format for comedy. So yeah, that would be
Yes.
excellent. Yeah.
Because my problem is that less the Oshi of the thing, it's more the Ito of the thing. Because the reason why the Oshi Eurosura got so good is because Ito could take a single strip and then stretch it out over the 2 segments, as opposed to when it started when it was in 2 segment stories, because he was so good at tagging jokes. He could take a joke and add to it without destroying the core joke from the strip. And of course, the other bonus they had is they got Megane and the Stormtroopers to also fill in as a chorus, which weren't there in the original series. And because also, if you like Megane, you're most likely going to like Tatami Time Machine. So we definitely like it Tatami Galaxy, because you've got that fast talking, monologuing, and you probably will like Time Machine Blues as well. I noticed that from the news article on Anime News Network that the author is playing a character.
Okay.
Yes, I
Or the
recall that.
screenwriter,
Yeah.
not the author, because it's a weird birth of this, isn't it? Because obviously it's a stage play, Summertime Machine Blues, which then gets made into a film, which then gets adapted by the author of Tatami Galaxy into a new novel, but then is adapted back into this anime by the original playwright of the original play. Who was also
Is there any of the original nutrients left?
who was also the guy who adapted Tatami Galaxy to animation and The Night is Short Walk On Girl to an animation. So yes, it's a loop of creativeness, which I guess would work given you're dealing with time loops and time machines. I think the way they work in the Summer Time Machine Blues characters, by the sounds of things, is that they're attending the university 25 years in the future. So you've got the characters from the Tatami Time Machine Blues in their timeline, and then 25 years later are the characters from Summertime Machine Blues.
Right.
And then those are the guys who've got the time machine, which then they travel back in time and somehow then the guys from Tatami Galaxy are using the time machine to fix their air conditioner, which is also the plot of Summertime Machine Blues.
Okay.
But Brian, I thought you hated Steins Gate.
I do, but this will be a good version of that. I don't.
It was about an appliance set
Yes,
to time travel.
I don't hate. I don't hate the premise of Steins Gate. I hate the execution of it.
Right.
Because it almost put me to sleep in the cinema.
It did put you to sleep.
No, I was just making noises that was indicating that this is boring me.
I'm awake. I'm good.
Right, that's it for this week. Back with more of this stuff next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
The nonsense. Stay tuned for more.
Oh, let me hit the stop recording.